It's hot though. That's one thing it is.
outside.
Girl, yes, it's hot.
It was nice. I don't know. I'm kind of digging it. I feel like I'm the kind of person I've learned to enjoy almost every weather. Like even when it's raining, if it's raining outside, I'm just like, ooh, it's time to go trail running.
I love not trail running. I love when it rains. I do. That's my best time. I think that I like to clean up,
Hmm.
or I always find something to do inside. But I love the rain. I like it when it rains. I like it when it's snowing because when my fireplace worked, I would turn it on.
Ooh. I
Yes, I.
know. So the coolest thing about trail running is that because of all of the trees and how dense it is above,
Mhm.
barely any water gets down to you.
Mm,
So it's like it has to really just be going,
good.
going, going
Yes.
rain for the water to get down to you. And then even when like the little droplets come through, especially because you're exerting yourself and you're running, it feels like little blessings, like little manna coming from heaven,
Oh
blessing
my
your body
goodness.
because you're heating up and you're cooling down at the same time. It's so much fun.
Whatever. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. How are you guys doing? Thanks for joining us tonight for the book club. Well, we know we're a little late, but we are happy that you're joining us anyway. So I see we have people coming in. Once you come in, I would love for you to let us know who's here tonight and let us know where are you checking in from. If you are tried and true, you know we want to see you. So go ahead and put something up um, in the chat. Melissa has on her fancy smancy red glasses here. I like those. Those are really cute.
Thank you. I thought this was a nice gift from my mom, but apparently these are hers, and she let me know that. So, I figured because see, why was when we go out, she buys things, right? And she usually puts it on the steps for me to let me know to bring it upstairs because I have to walk by the steps. She put these shades on the steps. So I was like, a surprise gift. And she's like, no, these are mine.
These are mine. These are mine.
But,
Yeah,
courtesy of my mama.
yeah, girl. Yes, yes. They look good on you.
Thank you, thank you.
So
I'm liking your look though. I was telling you when this started, I was trying to, I'm trying to coax Miss Wani into trail running. One of these days, y'all gonna see her out there in these tights.
girl. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. Um, what y'all will see is me beginning the trail run. Don't know if I'm gonna. I will ever finish it. I don't know, but yes, she thinks she's gonna get me out there. It's gonna be a very short trail. That's for sure. It is. Oh
Oh,
my goodness.
introductions. Did we do introductions?
No, we're gonna do introductions.
Okay.
Once again, before we do introductions, I would love for you guys to come on here, let us know who's on with us tonight, and let us know where are you checking in from. So go ahead, Melissa. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello there. My name is Melissa Ingrid Lawrence, and I am a lifestyle YouTube influencer. My channel is documenting my journey to freedom. And that freedom is mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, and emotionally. So, some of the things that you might see there, as I spoke about a second ago, trail running, just, trying to grow and being intentional about my growth. Um, on my channel, you'll see something I like to call the 7 F's of freedom. So it includes faith, family, finances, future, fitness, fashion, and fun. And yeah, I'm super excited about it. And Miss Wani, you can take it away.
All right. So you guys know me, and if you don't, my name is Juani. I have my lifestyle channel is Juani's House, where we do everything dealing with entertaining. We do fashion, we do cooking, we do everything that pertains to living over 50. So and we like having fun. So you will see all of that over here at Juani's House. Now, this is the book club. We do this every Thursday. And the book that we are discussing is Getting to I Do. Now, the little Gen Zer here chose this book because she is she is getting out there in the dating pool. And she found this book and was so excited. But we have pretty much just struck it down because the author wrote this 1983. So a lot of her views are for then. So we've had to tame down the grasshopper and get her caught up to like the new millennial way of dating. Now,
would you mind if I gave a little update on where I am in the dating process?
yes, that would be great. Go ahead.
So, talked to a lot of people, got to know a lot of people. It hasn't really gone much of anywhere. I think I'm kind of getting over the whole online dating thing and just being more intentional about
Oh,
getting
really?
out. Because I'm telling you, like, I didn't want to admit it because I was also on online dating.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, I do know a lot of people who have found really great people online. My mom included, and on a whole, people are, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the people that I've met have just been really weird.
Mm-hmm. Like weird how?
Like, I think I shared the story before about the one guy, and his first message was like 2 paragraphs long, and it was, I think you are my wife. You look just like her. And I was just like, oh, I was just like, I look like your wife. I was like, you're on a dating app. And he was just like, no, like, you look like you could be my wife. And I was just like, okay. I was like, that's a really huge compliment. I was like, after, salvation, who you marry is the second most important decision you'll ever make in your life.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And then he was just like, yeah, I hope for us to continue to get to know each other, to get married, and then have 3 kids. And I was like, whoa. I was
Oh,
like, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm a big advocate of people saying what they want and going after what they want, but you don't know me from Sam. I could be a serial killer. Like, I'm not a serial killer. I
right.
don't have it in me, watching Queen of the South recently. I don't know if anybody's seen that show, but that thing is graphic. And every now and again, I have to remind myself that the streets aren't for everybody. And that's why they made sidewalks. I happily keep myself on the sidewalk. So, I'm not one for all of the antics. But
Yes.
that was a more tame one. And when he and I finally got on the phone, because I initially was just going to be like, nah, okay, unmatch and everything like that. My
Mm-hmm.
mom was like, Melissa, if he was trying to abuse you, you give him a chance or something like that. And I was like, what? That don't make any sense. She was just like, he's being upfront about what it is that he wants. That's not a bad thing. So I was like, maybe I'm tripping, right? So I was like, all right, gave him my number. We talked. First conversation immediately. It was, oh, he asked me, do I have any questions for him? I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah. I was like, so where do you get your principles from? Essentially just trying to figure out where he stood, what he believed and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, oh, this question again. I'm like, what? Like, this is my first time talking to you. What do you mean? And he opened up to me about the fact that the last girl that he had spoken to on this app, that, he thought things were going really well and he really liked her and everything like that. She just kept getting caught up on the quote unquote religious thing. And I was just like, okay, but then he just kept going on and cutting me off. I was just like, whoa. I was like, maybe it wasn't even religion. Like, you just, I don't know, maybe you need to take some time and heal from that before you can
Yeah.
move, because now I'm getting a lot of energy for something I never spoke to you about. But
Right.
that was one
Right.
of the more tame ones since being on there. I feel like I was listening to something by Tony Gaskins. I don't know if you are familiar with him, but he's on YouTube. He talks a lot about relationships. He's a life coach. And he was saying that on a whole, people on online dating, especially men, he was saying that more often than not, it's not a good idea because, oh, what was he saying? He was saying that it's not a good idea because it takes 10% of what's necessary for a man to be head of household that it would take for him to approach a woman in real life. So a lot of these guys on here are having an uncomfortability in going up and approaching women. So if they can't approach you, how are they supposed to be prepared to do any of the other things that you would need them to do in that husband position? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you telling the story about you and Mr. B. He was confident enough to walk downstairs and talk to you. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
As
Mm-hmm.
opposed to the whole online dating thing, where, a lot of times women are just kind of served on a platter for guys to just swipe left and right on. And
Mm-hmm.
because you have so many options, now everybody's just a choice instead of a decision. Because you have so many people trying to be in your ear, it's hard to focus on one person enough to really get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've been going out more. I got stopped by a couple guys. Nobody I was interested in. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Terry Gaskin was giving tips on how to, be a woman, be out there, the guy know that you're interested. Definitely separate. It's not the same as what sister girl in the book was saying.
I
He was
know
not
it wasn't.
staring down. He was not staring him. One Mississippi, two
Well,
Mississippi,
two
three
Mississippi. I was
Mississippi.
like, you
Yeah,
scared?
he gave
Okay,
me
you got a
that.
stalker?
So, yeah, essentially, all I gotta do is just be friendly, and that's essentially what I did when I went out last weekend. I just kind of walked downtown Chattanooga, just went into different places. I got myself a little smoothie. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So you aren't using her techniques. You're pretty much just getting out because I told you I thought that it would be difficult trying to get to know somebody online because once again I'm kind of I'm old school and
Mhm.
I think it's online. People can be whoever they want to be
Mhm.
online. They
Mhm.
can paint a beautiful picture,
Mhm.
and and you may not meet them, or you may meet them, and then you have to go through the um the um the process of like meeting their representative for the
Mhm.
next 3 months, and now you've already like 6 months in, and
Mhm.
then the real them come out. So now 9 months you don't waste it because you spent 3 months prior trying to figuring out, well, falling in like with who you thought they were online. So I always
Mhm.
thought that like online thing was difficult. I remember back in the day, it wasn't online, but they used to have these um like these lines you could call. They were like dating lines, but you do it on the phone.
Okay.
And you could yeah, girl, that was real like 90s.
Oh, like Miss Cleo calling me now.
Yes, yes. But it was like you could, and I don't know if they did it here, but I was in California, so everything was in California.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you could call and you could listen to, like, they were like, "Hi, my name is Mike," and I da 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 da. And then if you or they will you'll leave a message, and then and all of them will hear like your message. So you kind of went based off of what their voices sound like, or they'll go off what your voice sound like. And I
Mhm.
can't remember how you could let them know that you were interested. I don't remember that part now. But I met some people like that, and I was like, I don't like that either, because you could still be a serial killer. I'll deal with the old way.
Yeah,
I'll deal with the old way, leaving people outside.
it's in the news. Yeah, people meeting up with people that they've met online and just different things like that and just walking into getting killed. But
Hmm.
I know what you said sounds a bit more similar to this TV show on Netflix called Love is Blind, if you've heard of it, where they
Hmm.
sit on different sides of the wall and they make their connection through conversation, and then
Hmm.
they finally meet each other as engaged. And then it's, but what you said sounds a bit more like that, because you
Hmm.
fall in love with the voice, and then you see the package, and hopefully the love that and the connection you establish that way is enough. Yeah.
Yes, because there was some voices on there. I was like, yes. Then it was like, no, where that's not what I envisioned. That for being with that voice. So
Yeah.
yes, yes. So hi guys, it's like 8 of us on here. I would love for you to let us know who's joining us tonight. So like we always do, we're gonna be on here an hour, so we'll be on until 9:16 because um we're just catching up with what Melissa has encountered out here in this dating world. So,
Mhm.
Melissa, you want to go ahead and start with chapter 16?
Yes. Hey, Andrea. Um, yes. So last week we left off with the section of the book that was talking about how to keep a sexual relationship from turning into an obsessive addiction. And she went over the experiences of the characters Maggie and Karen. We had just finished the background story on Maggie. Um, Quick recap: she was somebody who, on the surface, was super attractive. However, at a very young age, her father no, yeah, her father, oh yeah, her father was slightly abusive. Like, he was abusive in the way that he communicated with her and everything, which built a certain level of insecurity. And eventually, he left the household, and as a result, she only was interested in relationships that had no real potential. And so the author broke down her psyche and why that was, and also spoke about her meeting a man named Kenneth, a married man at her office, and her just really liking to be with him. After a while of them interacting, he decides that he wants to be with Maggie, and so he leaves his wife and his children to be with Maggie. Maggie is like, whoa, I didn't want anything serious, and so she kind of skedaddles on Keith. And as a result, hey Al, nice to see you. Yeah, so as a result, when she starts to pull away from him, he decides, yeah, this really isn't for me. He goes back home and tries to beg for his place back in his family. After working with the author a bit, Maggie realizes what was up with her mindset and why she was acting the way that she was and couldn't really connect with men in that way. And now she's happily married. And so now we have the story of a woman named Karen that we're going to go over now. So Karen was the opposite of Maggie. Where Maggie's walls were too high and thick, Karen's was non-existent and too thin to protect her from use and abuse. Maggie was raised with a small, sensitive, sickly Frenchman as a father and a large, strong Swedish woman as a mother. Her loving and doting father died when she was 6, and after that, she was easily manipulated because she hated to assert herself. The terror she felt at being yelled at or abandoned or rejected was overwhelming. She was under the watchful eye of her mother for that very reason. Then she met a man named Mike. She married him, but shortly after, he became very abusive. And after therapy and group work, she is now in a healthy, happy relationship and is able to establish and maintain boundaries. It was definitely a bit more colorful when you read the book. They went into how that abuse and what that abuse was. And, not I, said the cat. Not I. Not I. And I know that in my journey, I've been working on being able to establish better boundaries and things like that. How have you been able to work on establishing boundaries that are, good for you, keeping you safe and everything like that? How have you been able to do that?
I have, and I'm still working on it, with boundaries. But for the most part, I am one, I don't like mess. I don't like mess. I don't like messy people. And it's a certain type of personality that instantly turns me off. And I back away. I'm one who I will just I will leave a situation. I will leave a relationship. I will leave a situation. I don't say anything. I shut it. I shut it down. And I do a lot of. I think that's it's like a protection mechanism. And so, but then my sister always says to me that it's easy for me to let people go. And it is. It's really easy for me to let people go. And she is one who feels like you should give people explanations as to why you're doing something. With me, you're probably not going to get that.
So it's funny. Let's go. The conversation, just walk out of there.
Yes, it's time to go. So yes, so that is, and I just said about I think that's just it's like a protection mechanism, and it's a certain personality, and I don't know what it's called or whatever, but when I just feel it in my, it's like a takeover spirit, I think it is, and I instantly I retreat because I already know that type of person and their whole vibe or whatever, we're not gonna gel. I'm not gonna argue with it because that's who you are, and so I just leave it alone.
That's cool. It kind of reminds me, everything that you said reminds me of this Maya Angelou quote: when people show you who they are, believe them the first time.
Yes.
So, and it makes sense, because why am I trying to explain to you this situation when you've been like this for a very long time? I'm not about to change you. I mean, the only body that can really change you is God,
Right.
and I mean, I really have a deep desire to want to change. But that makes me think of something. The same guy that I was speaking about before, Tony Gaskins, he was talking about the fact that God uses individuals. For example, he said God used his wife to be able to change him into the man that he is today, because deep down in his heart, he wanted to change.
I was going to say that.
However, a lot of the like he put it like this. He was like God can't get through to that man with you giving him orgasms. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's not going to choose listening to the Holy Spirit over you and this opportunity. Like, he's talking about the little head taking over the big head. So he was saying,
Mm-hmm.
a woman's ability to hold her virtue, a woman's ability to say no, a woman's
Mm-hmm.
ability to decide this is what I'm doing, this is not what I'm doing, helps to create a structure for a man who is used to kind of getting what he wants when it comes to women to just
Mm-hmm.
really kind of sit down and focus in and do what he needs to do in order to change to be the man that he needs to be for that relationship. So it's interesting because you hear people say nobody can change somebody, but more often than not, a lot of guys, a lot of what he was saying is that a lot of the men that he's worked with,
Mm-hmm.
their motivating factor was wanting to be with a woman or wanting something so bad that they were willing to change to have it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
That was really cool. Thank you for sharing. Um, the next section that we're going to talk about is little boys who pose as men or grown boys. So in therapy, I sometimes see a woman hooking up with a man who at first appears to be masculine, but in reality is a Peter Pan who never got enough love in childhood, so that emotionally he hasn't grown up. He becomes a taker who is willing to mom who is waiting for mom to arrive. Real little boys see women, other children, and animals as a source of gratification until they grow up. Then, as men, they become givers, protectors, and cherishers, and view women, children, and animals as recipients of their bounty. But Peter Pans never reach this stage. Instead, they become womanizing, opportunistic men who feed off needy, addictive, masculine energy career women. These women do not like to work. No, these men do not like to work. Often a woman can't tell if the man she is with is a real man or a little boy because at first Peter Pan acts generous and gives and cherishes her feelings. He knows that he has to put out to get her to put out. However, after about 4 to 8 weeks, the generosity ends and the collection notices arrive. From then on, you're buying his clothes, lending him money, letting him live in your home, and basically paying for his love, which is really no more than sex. Some older, rich, or polygamous masculine energy women like Peter Pans. They are fun and entertaining. Your only problem will be if he finds another big mama with more money and even fewer demands than you. However, even if he doesn't, a man like this can turn a relationship into a nightmare because usually after his generous period ends, he will shut down and become passive aggressive, often deliberately provoking you into begging for him to give you what you want. Little boys love weird women. He sees no problem in driving you crazy. Oh, yeah. I think that was supposed to be wired. Weird or wired, I'm not sure. He sees no problem in driving you crazy, and although you may have been reasonably sane when he met you, he will train you to become weird. It is weird, yeah, weird by pushing you away, then pulling you close again, all within a very short period of time. Right after that, it gives an example of what a Peter Pan looked like in the life of a woman named Joan.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it kind of reminded me of Joan from like Girlfriends. I was like, Joan, no.
Joan, I love Girlfriends.
I should not have been watching that, but I was watching Girlfriend. Um, so Joan, a boutique owner, met an auto insurance salesman. First things seemed amazing, and she believed him when he said that this was real and that it was a forever thing. He started asking her for money and saying that he would pay her back next week because he was short and never ended up paying back. One day, he came to her house with all of his things, letting her know that he was moving in for a few days because he was having issues with his laundry. I got Oliver barking. I was said no,
Oh, no, no.
that he was moving in for a few days because he was having issues with his landlady. Joan didn't refuse, and a few days turned into a few weeks. While he was living with her, he was taking full advantage of Joan's kindness and occasionally the change she left on her dresser. One day, she received the phone bill for $298, only 50 of it being charges that she ran up. After confronting Carl, that's the name of the auto insurance salesman, Carl about it, he acted nonchalant and packed quickly, ignoring her tears and demanding for repayment. So I want us to all imagine this. Joan is sitting there trying to get him to understand, like, what is up with this bill? I only put $50 on here. What is all of this? And
Who you talking to?
he doing what Miss Juani said. No closure necessary.
No,
He just
no closure. Time to go.
He
The
tapped.
gig is up.
The gig is up. So he tapped her on the nose just before he gave her a last kiss and said, "I had fun, sweetheart. See you around sometime." And after he was gone, after meeting the author to find out what went wrong, she had learned to recognize her own that she had learned to no she that she needed to learn to recognize her own needs before a man's. She had to decide whether she wanted to exchange her money for a man's sexual favors, and if not, to spot male users and reject them as soon as possible.
Mm, mm, mm.
I felt the need. Yes, that was a long excerpt, but I feel like it needed every single comma, period, and quotation mark. Like that was
That was a lot.
wild. That was
That was a lot. That was a lot. I'm like the gall of you to come to my house with your stuff as if I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, come. No, you don't have no friends you could go stay with.
and I feel like it's interesting because you hear people talk about hold me down, and it's like the only person I'm gonna hold down is my husband.
Yes, I think there are times when everybody like runs into a hard time or whatever, and there are, but I think the first time that a man like asks for money, that's one thing that's such a turn off.
When a man asks for money.
Yes, don't yes, that's a turn off.
Ooh, I had a question. Okay, I was watching this video where this guy was saying that he was talking with this girl they were dating, and she said that she believes in saving sex until marriage. So he said that he believes in saving his money until marriage, like not paying for anything. That because she wants to save sex for her husband, he wants to save money for his wife. So when they go out on dates, it's 50-50. When they do anything, it's 50-50. She can pay her way, he can pay his way, because if sex isn't going to be exchanged, then money isn't going to be exchanged.
Okay, so then they're not dating then. I
Yes.
mean, they're not dating. So if I were her, he wouldn't be the only one that I'm seeing.
Or he wouldn't be the one that I'm seeing at all.
I mean, yes, that part. But
Like,
but obviously she's still going out with him because she's paying half and all. No, my time. That's what your mama say. My time is worth something.
my time is worth
My
something.
time is worth something. Yes.
Now,
And,
something that my mom taught me growing up that I follow even when like it comes to friends and stuff like that is if I'm the one that invited you out, I know what my finances are like. I don't know what your finances are like. So
right.
if I invite you out, I'm expecting to pay. If you and so like for example, right? If I were to be like, "Hey, Miss Juani, let's go hang out at Spotland for the day this weekend." Let's say if
Hmm.
I said that, right?
Hmm.
I don't know what your finances look like. I'm the
Right.
one who asked you to leave your house to go with me somewhere.
Right.
So therefore, the financial responsibility is the person who asked. So if you ask me out on a date, that's why I don't be asking men out on dates, because if I'm starting and I'm leading this, I'm expected to pay now. And then
Yes.
it's
But
weird for you to lead in that way, but then expect that person to pay because you
right.
asked them to leave their house. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Right. I understand, but I didn't ask nobody to go out on a date. So,
And I feel like that's the thing. And I feel like that's what the author was maybe hinting at earlier about women being the one to make the first move, women being the one to, approach the man. She said that's you're approaching that all backwards. And everything
mhm.
that I've been listening to, including speaking with you and all the other knowledgeable women on this book club, if you start off with it that way, you
Mhm.
just won't lead the rest of the way. Don't be surprised. He's expecting you to
Yeah.
leave him around,
'Cause his hands always gonna be out.
and
Yeah.
you turn around and you wonder why you got a Carl taking the change off your dresser. I was like, the
Oh my
change off my
god.
dresser? Bro,
Don't,
you
don't you,
taking pocket change?
you taking my monies? You taking
It's the
my
tapping the
change?
nose for me and him telling her verbatim, I had fun, comma, sweetheart. See you around sometime? See you around?
Mm. That
And the wildest thing is she can't even take this man to court because unless it's he said, she said, and now she probably
she
gonna
gonna
end up
take the court for what?
that's what I'm saying. He ain't got no money.
Yeah. She gonna take him to court for what? He
He
ran
ain't
up
even
the
got no place
bill.
to live.
You let him come to your house. He ain't pay a bill. He did all that in a matter of weeks. No.
Listen, he sound like a con man. That's exactly what I just heard.
Yes, yes, he does.
Did anybody have anything that they want to add, or do
What do
you
you
know
guys
somebody
think?
that you have personally?
Yeah,
I
what do
mean,
you
not
guys
not
think? Y'all are
personally.
quiet tonight. I don't know if it's because it's 8 o'clock. It's time for y'all. Are y'all in the bed already? You guys are quiet. Okay, but
All
yeah,
right.
I thought that that whole little excerpt right there, it started off wrong. I was like, what? What he did? I'm like, he did what?
For real, she had me want to grab my wallet and be like,
Exactly. Al said a real man would not even let it go that far. Exactly.
You know
Yeah.
what? And it made me think about this guy that I used to work with. I was going out to go grab some food, and I was just like, he had explained to me about different financial difficulties that he was having, and so I offered to pay. I was just like, okay, well, like I'm inviting you out, so I'll pay. And then he's like, no. I was like, what? Because we're not dating. Like, I didn't say this out loud, but in my mind, I was like, I'm not we're friends, like we're work friends. Like I
Mhm.
can do it. He was just like, nah, nah. And I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
At first, I was just like, but then now that you're saying that, he was like, nah, he not about to let a woman pay for him.
No. He got to figure it out. He'll figure it out if he got to go swing from a pole. He gonna
Not.
figure it out.
She said, even if he gotta, turn that booty in a circle.
Pop it.
He said, here's a Chippendales application.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Oh goodness. So the next part, the next chapter is called Getting Ready for Marriage. So now, according to the author, after 9 months, you've pretty much seen the guy whole cloth, warts and all. This is the time for both of you to love up the commitments you have previously negotiated. Now, more than ever before, you must be clear about your own intentions and those of the man you love. She then goes on to say that real life is not a romance novel. In this section, the author aims to arm the reader with a survival kit because although it is at this time that you hope everything follows through on course, just as in a romantic novel, the truth is that life has many more surprises and quirks than ever found in a novel. And then she goes on to getting him to propose. According to the authors, according to the author, we as women are never to
Yeah,
demand,
but
huh?
go ahead.
According to the author, we as women are never to demand marriage. That it is better for a woman to pass a man up than to demand to be married. She has had married men in her office. Oh, yeah, she has had married men in her office 5, 10, 20 years later who say, I didn't really choose to marry her. She got pregnant and threatened me, and I married her under duress. I'm still angry about it, and I'm still not committed. And that's the reason why I don't treat her the way she wants to be treated. Quick, coming in here real quick. It kind of flashback. I don't know if anybody here has watched like the first season of like Love and Hip Hop New York, where I think that was a season where like Chrissy and like Jim Jones was on there.
Uh huh. Uh
And, like,
huh.
she got down on her knee and like proposed to him because they had been
Yes.
together for all those years, and she was wanting marriage, but he was being really slow about it. And I'm
Hmm.
thinking like they have got like because that was what like almost 6 years ago.
And
So
they still not married.
and the thing is, that's exactly what the author's saying. Like, it's better to leave a situation if you know you want to be married than to stay with somebody because now, at this point, because he's getting everything that he wants without really having to put up that commitment. And I don't know. There's some women who believe in their head that past a certain age they're not as desirable. So you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
it's better
I
to. Yeah.
I remember that. And then I just saw like recently or whatever, they still not married. I'm like, all of that. And I'm like, that's a lot of years. You're never gonna get that time back.
Never at all.
You cannot get it back. Like I said, I'm being put on layaway for nobody.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and I feel like so. I'm gonna say this, right? The way that I see my dating and everything going, like I'm not sure if I said this before, but the way I see it going is from friend to fiance to wife. Because I told you the way that my dating and everything is set up, there's not something that somebody's going to be able to get from me as a friend that they wouldn't be able to get from me as a girlfriend. The only thing is maybe exclusivity in dating. But at
Mhm.
that point, if you want to take me off the market, you don't see people walking into what Bentley talking about, let me put this on a layaway plan. They either have they can either afford what they want up front, and they know what they want up front. In fact, I was listening to something recently that said that most people who actually buy Bentleys, they call on the phone to order it and have it delivered to them. So they don't even go into the store to check it out.
That's
so
crazy.
all of that, you get what I'm saying? So it's all of that, test driving. Nobody out here test driving a Bentley. You know what the value is, and you go get it. So at that point, I see it as I was saying, because the way that girlfriend has come to me is I like you enough to not want anybody else to have access to you. But I don't know how I feel enough about you to make the only commitment that really counts. Like, you can't count a boyfriend on your taxes. Like, I can't claim a boyfriend on my taxes.
No.
Hi, Kim Moy.
Kim Toy.
Kim Toy.
How you doing tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we're good, I can move on to the next one.
Yeah, go ahead.
She uses a fishing metaphor to describe the dating to marriage process. Dating a man is similar to having him, the fish, on the line, while marriage is the equivalent of having him on the boat. That is in the space between the boat and the water that the fisherman is the most likely to lose him. That this process, like swimming, requires saint-like patience. That by the first year, the two of you should have at least discussed the future, even in generic terms. That women are to wait until you are almost at the end of your patience. On a scale from 1 to 10, it would be an 8. Then this is the time you must speak, because if you wait longer, you will lose your cool and damage or destroy a beautiful relationship. What do you think about that?
That you should wait. That you should wait till you're almost at the end of your patience. I do think that yeah, like in your first year or whatever, yeah, you might have conversations about, do you want to be married, or if you was younger, do you want to have kids, or just like little generic conversations. But going from like that at 1 year and then immediately going to like year 2 being married, I still think in the first year you still have a lot of, I think in our first year dating, we probably broke up like 6 times. So it was like
Together.
yes, but but we had to like learn each other. So just know that it might not be just a whole, you know, continuous dating. There might be breaks and different things. So that first year, yeah, it may have been like in passing in conversation. I don't think it really started coming up big time until like in the second, yeah, definitely the second year.
Okay, so in your experience, one second, please.
Exactly. It's like when you go to the jewelry store, you don't want the stuff they sell on the shelf. You want the jewelry in the back because it's too expensive to be sitting out front. Exactly.
Okay. All right. I like the illustration.
Yes, that's right.
So would you say that it's a cause for concern if in the first 12 months the guy that you're talking to is avoiding the conversation of the future? Like, if you noticeably see that, like, he's kind of like Neo from the Matrix, like trying to get away from, like, not answer those questions. So she was saying that usually general conversations about the future comes up.
Yeah. Yes and no, because I also think like in maybe like the first year, you still getting to know each other. He could still um maybe just had not been in the dating pool, so it could still be a instance where he was still dating a lot of people or whatever. So now he's with you, and yeah, now he's with you or whatever, and so he's just still trying to figure out how Phil still trying to figure you out. And the same thing, you're trying to figure him out. These are things that are deal breakers, or things that he does or whatever. So I don't think about bringing that up in the first year. I don't think it would be a deal breaker, with me. I would not like, have any concern about it,
Mm.
because you're still, it's still early. It's still early. No, so but like I say, like little general little conversation, a little like yeah, when we get married, or I would like to have a wedding like this or whatever. But I think in the second year, definitely the third year, um it should be, this is what I want for us. I
Mm.
would like, what do you think about a destination wedding? What do you think about this? Or, things come on television. A lot of times those are things that may force like conversations.
Mm.
And, based off of maybe like a television show, a commercial, whatever. And you were like, well, what do you think about that? What do you think about Jamaica? Would you like to be married in Jamaica? Would you, little things like that,
Mm.
especially if, and not it coming from you, but if it comes from them, because then that's how you know that they are thinking along those lines.
Okay. So it actually lines up with something that I was reading recently. So I'm actually reading one of
No.
I'm also, in addition to this book, I read a lot of books. So in addition to this book, I'm also reading this one called what is it? It's one by Tony Gaskins. He wrote it. It's called A Woman's Influence, where he goes over just like dating from the perspective of a man who chose a woman, like who chose his wife. And he was, something that he mentioned is that the guy that you're with should love you a little more than you love him.
Definitely agree with that.
Because he was saying that at the end of the day, it's not until a guy really, really wants you that he's willing to really stand up and do what's necessary for it. Similar to what the author was saying before, that all of these guys were talking about how they felt pressured into marrying this woman and that they didn't actually choose her. So
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't choose her, now from my perspective, they're being passive aggressive, because somebody could say to me 1,000 times, um, drink this, drink this gasoline, drink this bleach, drink this bleach, drink this bleach. I'm not gonna drink that bleach.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's showing a lack of ability as a man to stand in your own truth. If you can let somebody bully you into marrying them, we talk about Jim Jones. Jim Jones still ain't let nobody, you know what I'm saying? He still didn't let nobody make them marry him. Like that don't make any sense.
But you know what? But you got to remember, back in the day, a lot of people were forced to get married because they had kids. You
No.
know, that was because you had to make her. We had to make her a righteous
Oh, make her an
woman,
honest woman.
an honest woman, right? And so those types of like ish things happened back then. And a lot of, it could be happening right now. A lot of people who like are in the church, and they get pregnant, and so it won't look bad to the people in the church. They were like, well, you need to get married. You need to get married. You got to make this right. When I was 35, I got married, but I did make my expectations of marriage known. So I
How
don't waste.
soon?
Yes,
How
exactly.
soon did you do it though?
Hmm?
Like I guess my question for Al, and I would love if you hopped up here so I could hear your beautiful voice. I've seen your lovely typing this entire time. I'd love to get a chance to meet you. And that was part of my question though. Did you let that be known when you guys were, let's say, like in the first week or so of dating, that that you're dating for this purpose? Because something that I'll follow up on, like when Miss Juani was speaking, I'm gonna be honest. From my perspective personally, a year is a long time to be with somebody without letting them know that you expect that you're dating with the purpose of getting married. Like, because if you're just kind of like, because you're looking at this guy talking about, let's just go with the flow and see how it goes, and you're over there like, yeah, let's go with the flow and see how it goes. You wake up and 20 years have passed.
But no, but those types of things, you have to have your own limitations. You can't. Everybody you meet is not worthy of you being married.
Yeah.
So no, you can't. I don't believe that you should date with the expectation of being married. I think you should date with the hopes of that coming, because I think otherwise you're gonna be let down. So I just feel like you just need to date, and whatever happens. If it goes there, then it does. But if it doesn't, you haven't lost anything. That was an experience that you need to gain from, and you learn from. You take what you got, you take whatever you gain from that and you go to the next one. Now, I don't agree with going from one relationship to another relationship, because there are things that I believe that we need to sit back on, heal from, learn from, figure out what it was, what part we played, because in every relationship we play a part in everything, whether we let things go too much. And that's another thing, because if I believe if you are dating with the expectation of marriage, you might be more prone to let a lot of stuff just go by the wayside. You know what I mean? Because this is what you want, and you're not really being in tune to what yourself is saying and how you're feeling. So I just think that you just need to date to date, and if it lead and when the right one comes, you'll know, because everything will happen like it's supposed to happen, and then you move forward. But I wouldn't put like false hope into every relationship, because this might be the one. The one that is going to be the one is going to be the one.
Okay, can I submit this for consideration then?
What's that?
Don't mind me. I just left from an HOA meeting where they follow Robert's rules of law. So I was just
Yes.
like, may I submit this for consideration? As we said before, keeping your own mental note that this is what you're looking for, and the moment that this person shows you that they're not the one, cutting it off and moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, understanding that I'm dating with the expectation of marriage, the moment that somebody shows me that they are not the person to fill in that, because it's kind of like a job putting out a position opening. Like, you're interviewing people for the purpose of them filling that role and responsibility. So you know what the requirements are of that job position. They don't necessarily have to know that. I mean, they're coming there for the purpose of, potentially being hired. You know what the requirements are. The moment that they show you that they're not these requirements, you cross it off and interview the next person. So that's part of the reason why I was saying, like, the whole girlfriend thing doesn't make any sense to me, because it doesn't require exclusivity. Hey, Sunny Day. Because from where I'm sitting personally, it doesn't take exclusivity to figure out whether or not you want somebody. Because think about it, we make, as as I said before, next to salvation, who you marry is the second most impactful decision that you will make in your entire life, right? So with that in mind, what I'm thinking is, oh dang, I thought about Sunny Day and I lost my train of thought. Yes. So that's the reason why, like, the whole girlfriend thing to me doesn't really make any sense, because as I was saying, like, you can understand what you need to know about somebody without having them 100% to yourself. And if anything, it's similar to like supply and demand. If you've taken yourself off the market, now there's less demand for you. So now they think that they got more than enough supply of you.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you know, homie, the time's ticking, I'm also seeing other people. Make a decision. You either know what you want, you don't.
Yeah, and I think you should see other people. Let it be known. I'm seeing other people, and because I this is the time, like I stated, that you kind of date around.
Mm-hmm.
You date around and let it be known. Be open about it. Yes, I'm seeing other people. We are not committed exclusive to one another. Now, when we become exclusive to one another, that's one thing. But still, you still need to know what it is that you what your end result is. So, but just know that just because right now y'all are exclusive to one another, that doesn't mean this is going to be your end all be all. That don't mean it's going to be him. It could just be someone to a detour to get you to him, or something that you need to learn from him or about yourself. So that's why I'm just saying, I don't want you to get out there and start dating and be like, okay, I'm dating you because you're going to be my husband. Not necessarily.
Oh, listen, no, I'm not about to be homeboy from the first message. Like, no, I'm definitely not that person.
Yes.
I have, so boom, what do you think the shot clock should be? when the moment, so like let's say 12 months to 30, like 12 months to 36 months, no, 12 months to 18 months of like dating. But when, like let's say somebody, I would like you to be my wife, engagement ring. How long is that shot clock between you asking me to marry you and you setting a date? Because I've been like, I've been hearing some crazy stories about people being engaged, you know, like in the same way that people are, you know, like dating for
Mhm.
decades, people being engaged for almost a decade. So like, how long between somebody from, what are you guys thoughts on that?
Um, okay, so wait, I want to read what Al said, then I'll come back to that.
Mhm.
Al said, in the first year I did, but he had been married before, so he had a bitter taste in his mouth. But remember, I was 35. If I was younger when I met him, I probably would have waited a little bit longer. Yes, and I think that and that's a different scenario also, because a lot of times when men have been married before, they do come out kind of bitter, and you don't want to be like the first relationship that he's had out of that, because that's a whole nother situation. And
Mhm.
then, but she had not been married, so she knew that that is what she wanted to be married.
Mhm.
So her, like she said, her whole situation was a little bit different. But if she, like she said, if she was younger, she would have waited a little bit longer to
Did you
even to
marry that
get
man?
married. And I think that that's a good age, because I got married when I was 34.
Mm.
But 33. I was 33. Mr. B was 34.
Well, when you were, well, in this situation as well, it seems as if Al had her own kids. And did you have, at the age of 35, it's interesting. I was looking this up. Apparently, eggs are considered to be geriatric at the age of 35. So, a woman waiting until 35 to get married, her chances of being able to have her own biological children like decrease significantly. So technically, a lot of women who desire to have children should actually be getting married, real talk, in their early 20s to late 20s to
I'm
be
so,
able to have kids if you want to have them.
I'm no. I don't buy into that, because I'm sorry. Your 20s, there are people who have gotten married in their 20s and they're still married. I'm sorry, your 20s is that is your time to live. Your 20s is your time for you to know yourselves, get out there, date, figure out what you like, what you don't like. Your 30s, okay, you make all your mistakes in your 20s. Your 30s, your time to clear it up, to clean it up, and then you start becoming more like family oriented. You still kind of want to do like couples things and things like that. And so your mindset kind of changed. I'm sorry. I had Poodle when I was 21. I had her with my sophomore year in college. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. No. No,
Mhm.
because then I was still trying to grow up. There,
Mhm.
I didn't know. Mm-mm. I think
Mhm.
now men are they're a little bit slower than we are. So I think like in their 30s or whatever, like at 29 or like 29, 30. Yes, I was a little bit more mature, but I had to be because I had a kid. But if
Mhm.
I did not have those same type of responsibilities, I'm sure I probably would have waited until to 35. Now I met Mr. B when I was what, 28. He had just turned 29. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, we were definitely on different levels. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Mentally. Our baby is 17, going to the prom on Saturday. Oh, oh, you're gonna have to put some pictures out
Yeah,
there.
time, drop the link.
Yes, yes. I put it in there.
Oh,
I'm
no, 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 no. I was saying like with, for like her
her
picture.
prom. Yes. Oh my goodness. I know she's gonna be beautiful. Yes. Well,
So yeah,
oh, but to answer your question about
the shot clock.
yeah, about the clock. Um Once again, it's really up to you. It's up to you. Remember what we had what's her name? Who's all? What's her name? Elaine, who's on here with us. And remember, she's engaged to the guy, and they've been engaged for how? It was what 10 years or something like that. You remember?
Oh no, yeah. No, they weren't engaged. It was a boyfriend for 12 years.
Yes, yeah, boy, yeah, 12 years, right?
Mhm.
So, but remember, he gave her a ring. Remember, she said he gave her a ring,
Oh
and
yeah.
I said, so what is it?
See, that's what I'm talking about.
What
Like,
is
you know
it?
what I'm saying? Like that's essentially like what like wait? What is
Because
here?
we plan everything.
Yeah.
It's up to us. So if you can put a wedding together in 6 months, whatever you did, mine was like 18 months, and that's because I was on a whole different coast, and I was getting married on the East Coast. I was on the West Coast, and I had like things to do, to try to do from a different coast or whatever.
Mhm.
But it's up to us. So if it takes that long, especially if he's giving you a ring, it's another reason why you haven't moved forward. And that's what I said to her. I was like, so why haven't you done anything? Because remember,
Mhm.
she said he gave her 2 rings. She
Oh
still hadn't moved. It's a reason behind it.
yeah. All right, bet. You these are there's things I need to make some decisions on. It's good to do these things before you get in the situation, because one thing that I found is that the worst time to make a decision is in the middle of a crisis. So it's
Yes.
good similar because it makes me think of what we are talking about as far as boundaries. When you look at boundary lines in real life, somebody can't cross a boundary unless it was put there first. So you have to think about what that boundary is before somebody crosses it. Because the worst happens
Hmm.
to be like, you cross my boundaries is when it's already done.
Right. But you know what? But then a lot of times boundaries are crossed because people are comfortable. And if you don't say anything, people don't know that that's a no-no with me. So when it happens, you need to address it. So if it happens again, they can't say that they did not know. But like Al says, if the engagement is that long, then somebody has reservations. Yeah.
Follow-up question. And it's gone. We'll keep moving on the book club. Because I did have a follow-up question, but it's gone. If it comes back, I'll ask it. Um, what to do if he's made the commitment, but he's dragging his feet? Right? Look at that. Like it
Hmm.
just worked out. Is your guy dragging his feet on setting, buying a ring, setting the date, or letting important people know of the future commitment to one another? The author's got a remedy for that. She advises removing sex from the equation. That in the relationship, you as the woman bring the sensual aspect of the relationship, and the man brings the commitment/status, and that a truly masculine man wants to be generous and responsible to protect your reputation and to cherish your feelings about being engaged and married. A selfish man wants freebies. However, a normal man may need to be brought to the awareness that he has begun to act selfishly. The authors the author approves bringing up the conversation like this. Excuse me.
Hmm.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Ask if ask if now or later about your relationship. Next, let him know that you know let him let him know that you know how you feel. I respect your choice, whatever it may be. However, I am very uncomfortable in this limbo, and until you can make a decision, I feel it's best we not be sexual. Do not argue with him as a man. He will more often than not be exceptional at staying more logical in a conversation bound to be emotional for you, if you have opened yourself to him sexually already. Even if he leaves, you are not to become sexually involved with someone else for at least 8 weeks in case he comes back. If you are if you are confident in your position, he will be confident in his actions. This confrontation, oh, this confrontation will make him aware that you love yourself more than you love him. And then it goes on to discussing two characters, two people that she mentions. The first one's Jackie and the other one is Rhoda. So Jackie is dating this guy named Dean. She made the ultimatum and he tried to get her to change her mind. He ultimately stopped calling on her in general. So basically, she told him that, she wanted to get married, and she took sex off the table. And he was really like, he was like trying to convince her to put it back on the table. And she was like, nope. She decided she wasn't arguing with him. And then he disappeared for, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks. And then he called her back up, was like how he can't stop thinking about her, invited her out to eat. And then, he asked her again. He was still trying to get her to change her mind. And she was saying, no, this is how she felt. And essentially, from where he was sitting, he was saying that how it's very selfish of her and manipulative to take sex off the table because of it. And essentially, she said, no, this is how I feel. And, this is an example of her setting where she was and what she wanted, and the guy deciding not to reciprocate. And in my opinion, that's A-okay, because at least, her time isn't being wasted anymore. Now with Rhoda and Joe, things are a bit different. She made the ultimatum, and he appreciated Rhoda's respect for his right to make a decision. He felt that whatever his choice, it would be his. For a committed masculine man to know that you honor his right to make his own determination about his future and is a real turn on. And if he is not committed, he is not your man. Now, self-love is the first love. Yes.
Exactly.
Question: Is there screen sharing on this?
I don't know.
There is this video that I saw that it just popped back in my mind because I wanted to get you guys' take on it. It's somewhat similar to this. I guess I'm gonna see 1 second.
I think that there is screen sharing. Hold on. Screen sharing at least is easiest with 2 monitors. You have another monitor? Maybe I don't know if you can do it. Maybe it's on my side. Screen sharing works on a good computer. Let me see. Share screen.
Oh, boom.
Oh, nope, it's not gonna work.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna play it. Hopefully we can all hear it. Because I know I was like, what? Let me see. And I want to get you guys, you can't take sex off the table for that purpose. If you already given it to him, that's manipulative.
And that's exactly what I was going to say, Al.
Okay, so.
That's exactly what I was going to say. But I also felt like, I don't feel like it's an ultimatum if you're telling him, this is what I want. And because at the end of the day, he has the right to say that's not what he wants. So, y'all know the whole thing with Mr. B and whatever. And my sister said I gave him an ultimatum. I wasn't giving it to me. It wasn't an ultimatum. I was telling him what my plans were. Now, if our plans did not align, right, that's fine, because he has the choice to. And I said, we can cut this short. We can cut this off now, because my plan was not to stay in California. My plan was to come back home after graduation. I went back there to finish my degree. So that was my plan. And I was like, so I had 2 or 3 months. I said, we can cut it. We can end this now, because if that is not where this is going, that is fine. We can just cut it short now. So that was not an ultimatum. That was just letting him know it made no sense for us to prolong this, and this is not where this is going.
So this is the video, right? When I first read the story with Jackie and Dean, this is the video that was posted. It's titled "A PSA for Abstinence If He Isn't Your Husband, Close Up Shop." Now, listen to what this guy says. The caption is a TikTok video that was put onto YouTube, and this guy has 7 kids and 7 baby mamas. Ooh. So we're gonna listen to what he has to say, and I wanted to get you guys' take on it.
7 baby mamas. Now, for the past few days, I've been going live, telling my story, speaking my truth. And a lot of women having an issue calling me a deadbeat, because I tell them I was being irresponsible, yet not wearing protection. But I always tell these women that I got pregnant that I do not want to be a father to these children. And I offer to pay for the abortion. Majority of times, they'll either take the abortion or they'll take a plan B. But only these 7 have kept these children. But the crazy thing about it is they want me to be responsible for some children I told them I did not want. So for some years now, some of them been trying to get in contact with me, access denied. Because I don't really know why you trying to get in contact with me. I done told you I did not want them kids. So don't expect me to be responsible financially, emotional, spiritually, mentally, or physically with some kids I do not want. And I don't give a fuck what nobody think about it. You're not gonna force children up on me. Yeah, we both made the decision to lay down and have intercourse. We both was irresponsible about the decisions we made that night. Yeah, I could have pulled out, but I didn't. And I ain't care to pull out because I'm not the one that's gonna have to carry a baby for 9 months. It's the woman. In my opinion, women should be more careful on who they sleep with. Because you're gonna be like, one of my baby mamas trying to find me so I can financially support a kid I done told her or them I did not want. Another thing is, these just jump offs. These are the type of women that I ain't even had to do nothing for. The bare minimum, but they gave me access to their body and they think I want to be a father to a child for one of them? Like, I don't even have no type of love for these women. How do they expect me to love these children? Before y'all say, oh, he irresponsible, he a deadbeat, he don't take accountability. Yeah, I do. I just don't give a fuck. You ain't gonna force these children on me when I told you I ain't want them. Yeah, I can offer to pay for abortion, but at what point can I force a woman to go get an abortion? I cannot. A woman say, my body, my choice, but I say, it's my life, my choice. Before y'all try to stitch this shit and be like,
But yeah, that's pretty much how it ended. I remember just being like, dang, with guys out here like these, you might wait until marriage.
You said what?
You really might as well just wait until marriage. Because at that point, he's saying like, but then like I realized, like, although at first I was like incensed, I had to think about it. And I was like, to a certain extent, he's making sense though. To a certain extent, he's making sense though. We as women have to be more careful because we know we're going to be the ones saddled with the responsibility.
Exactly.
It's not like he raped them.
Yes, and he told them from the beginning, like she said, he told them from the start what he didn't want. They thought they could change him. They were wrong. Exactly. And but you have to. Oh my goodness.
Careful.
He already has 7 kids.
By 7 different women.
By 7 different women. You already know. That yeah. First, that's a turn off. I couldn't dip in that pond. He done dipped in too many ponds for me.
Listen, it's for me. I tried to keep it together, but it's when you was like, oh no, just like just get off the camera.
Yes. Know who you lay with, deal or no deal. Exactly. Because, but like you said, he told them, you know what? I don't want no kids, whatever. And you're right, because at the end of the day, you got to protect yourself. And you're the one that's going to be left with it.
But think about it like this. For me, the way he left it off, for me, put a period at the end of what he said. Because he was like, at the end of the day, women are saying, my body, my choice. He can't force women to get an abortion. So it's his life, his choice. And I was like, that's facts. Because you can't force a woman to get an abortion. So then he's still held responsible for it. That's the real question.
Al says, I'm going to make these pancakes, but I don't really like pancakes, so don't expect me to eat them.
That's facts.
That's right.
You know what? Al's really good with these illustrations because she makes it make sense.
Yes. Get off of here.
So, did anybody else have anything they wanted to talk about in regards to that? Because I remember just being in bed being like,
oh my, I know that's right. And he meant what he said. And
every word.
And that was
his chest.
Yes. And that is what I say. Listen to what men say, because they tell you, but you have to choose to listen. You heard him, but did you listen to what he said? And the mere fact that he tells you, I got 7 kids by 7 different women, I don't want no kids, whatever. The whole 7 women would have turned me off instantly.
But I doubt, I doubt he rolled up to baby mama number 5 and was like, hey, I got 4 of the baby mamas and 4 kids they would just all jump off. I ain't really like them like that. I doubt he started the conversation like that.
Yes.
And the thing is, they didn't ask enough questions, or they didn't
No.
do their due diligence.
They do. Most men would tell you what they want. You can't change them. That's the truth. They'll tell you.
And then
Mhm.
now, were there any more comments?
Oh, Kim Tor says she's like that. She likes that. I like that.
I think that's supposed to be Miss L.
Yes.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so the next section is talking about a fear of commitment.
Period.
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 Um,
Uh-huh.
so the next section is talking about a fear of commitment. While the issue could be him, at times it's many women fear the loss of their independence, just as some men fear the gain of responsibility. As a result, they end up sabotaging their relationship. Then she goes on to talk about a couple named Charlene and Mike. They began dating. They spoke often about the future, but as Mike set the date for the wedding and planning, she began to pull away. Then she began an affair with somebody at her office named Tom.
Mm.
Tom was married and had a family. And so what happened was, Mike was just really confused because the relationship was going so well so long that he's the one who actually came up with her going to see the author. So she sat down with the author and they began talking. And what the author was able to help her understand was that Charlene feared her life getting boring and predictable, that she just assumed marriage would just be boring and predictable, and she didn't want that for her life. And
Mm-hmm.
that she was like that while life with Tom was fun and unpredictable, it had no future because he already
Mm-hmm.
had a family and he was not going to leave his family.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a result, she overcame her commitment issues and she married Mike. I just remember just being like, it's more often than not you hear about in a situation like this, like the guy being like, nah, I'm leaving. I don't think I've ever heard of a situation where the guy was like, okay, let me go find you a therapist to help you work through your commitment issues so that you can marry me.
Yeah. But that's one. But he loved her more than she loved him.
And you know what? Going back to it, find somebody that loves you a little more than you love them.
My aunt always told me that.
I've also heard this, right? I've heard this that it's an issue if you can point out who loves who the most. And I'm gonna just follow through what this person was saying, and then that way we can deconstruct it and figure out whether or not we believe it or not, or like what's going on there. He was saying that more often than not, when women are looking for men who love them more than they love the guy, there's something missing there that would make that woman want to commit herself fully. So she ends up with the guy, knowing that he's not the one. But after a while, because he's chasing, once he finally gets her and she's married to him, now he turns around and he's like, okay, I chased you for this long to get you to get you locked down. Now you have to prove your worth in being in this
Mm.
position. So now the tables are switched, and now she's having to prove
Mm-hmm.
after the fact. And if she doesn't show up in that way, he feels it, and now he knows that she was not what he wanted, that he was not what she wanted, which usually ends up in these one or two ways, said what I was listening to. He
Mm-hmm.
either doesn't end up giving him the respect, and he can feel what's missing in their relationship, so he either ends up cheating with a woman who respects him and a woman who cherishes him the way that he wants to be cherished, or she ends up cheating with a guy that she would actually really want.
Mm.
So those are the outcomes that I was hearing about in a relationship where you can easily identify one loving more than the other. What do you think about that?
Um. Hey, Auntie. Matter of fact, this is the auntie right here who always told me that you get with somebody who loves you more than you love him, who like you more than you like it. This one right. She must have felt me.
She said my ears burning.
Yeah, she said my ears. I hear somebody repeating my line. Yes. So girl, I said all that and I forgot the doggone question.
Oh, so with the scenario that I mentioned where it was broken down, what did you like? Because what he was saying made sense. What the guy was breaking down, and it was this relationship expert. His name was Stefan Labussier. but he was breaking down what happens in a situation where one person, it can be easily identified as loving the other than saying that imbalance in love.
Right. And okay, I'm back with you now. So I think in situations like that, one of y'all gonna get tired, because she gonna get tired of always trying to prove. And the one who loves the least, here's the Auntie Betty. She says the one who loves the least is the one in control. Yeah, because now you have that other one always trying to prove themselves, or like, see, I did this, or not choose me, but I did this for you. I got your back. See this? You know how I used to be. I don't know. I might be dating myself. I'm sure I am. Y'all remember those cartoons where it had the big old dog and you had the little dog, and the little dog was the tough one, and the big dog was like, "Hey, Butch, da 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 da, look what I did, Butch. I got us a bone, Butch, da 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 da." And that was the big dog, but the little dog was the one. He the one who had attitude, and he was just like, come on, And so you get in like a dynamic like that where you're always trying to show that I got you. Look what I did, and oh, she took about 75 year old wisdom and experience.
Is Aunt Betty is Aunt Betty married?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I feel like I would want her to get on here. I want to ask her some questions. I
don't know, Auntie Betty. You want to come on here?
You don't have to show your face, but I definitely like to hear your voice.
If you want to come on, you can click the link, and you can turn your camera off if you're not presentable, but we could just hear your voice. Girl, I'm having a hot flash out this.
I'm over there seeing it. I thought that you had set up the little, like Beyonce fan in the background until I saw the paper going back and forth.
She said she's gonna try.
Okay.
She's gonna try to come on. Yes. Betty, she's funny, y'all.
Okay, I'm ready. Oh, one of my aunties, it's her birthday today. So, I did call her this morning to say happy birthday. I woke her up out of her sleep, but, I let her go back to sleep after.
You let her go back. Yes.
How about this? You want me to keep moving, and then if Aunt Betty gets a chance to hop back on?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, yeah.
Also, by the way, you my aunt now, because I already started calling you Aunt Betty at this point.
Okay.
So, old belongings die hard. Clear the way for new love. The author offers advice for how to handle an old flame re-entering the picture when you are on your way to marital bliss with your current partner. She advises, in such a situation, you must strive to develop an empathy for your ex-lover by saying, "I am glad you're successful in your work," or "I'm glad you found someone to love." Through this, you can set yourself free and be ready to commit to someone else. So, being I guess cordial and wishing them well on their way, but being committed to what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, if you can't do that for them, should you be getting married?
Well, it depends on the situation, because if it was something foul, then no, I don't care how you are. Deuces.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, because I feel like forgiveness. I feel like this brings up a very interesting conversation about forgiveness. That a lot of people mistake forgiveness as just kind of giving somebody a free license to run in and out your life and do what you want. But I feel like there's a way that you can. Boom, I'll put it like this, right? There was one time I was in college. I was sitting outside of my physics dorm. I mean, the physics hall and everything like that. And it was months after the throw the old flame in the trash. He old for a reason.
Old for a reason. Exactly.
Yeah, so I was sitting outside of my physics class. I was on the phone with my mom, and I had seen my college ex walk by. And when I saw, like, I was sitting in a place where they couldn't see me, but I could see them. It was interesting how the building was set up. And I just remember telling my mom, and immediately she went into like fix it mode. She was just like, "It's okay. This and that." Cause it was a breakup. But essentially, I had to go upstairs for privacy. So essentially, I'm talking to my mom, and I just remember repeating to her that I saw a smile and that my ex looked happy. And
Mm-hmm.
I was just like that like it put a smile on my face to see that person happy.
Mm-hmm.
Although
Mm-hmm.
like we weren't together, because I mean, it reminds me of this Tupac quote where he says that just because we're not friends doesn't mean that you've gained me as an enemy. I still
Mm-hmm.
want
Mm-hmm.
to eat, just not at my table. So
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things where it's like I feel like even if an ex did something quote unquote like, I guess it just depends on how foul that is. Because
Yeah.
if you was out here trying to put me in a sex trafficking, well, you're not getting a text back. In fact, I'm calling the police.
Right. Yes, but yeah, yeah, it depends on the situation because you can end, being friends, because I'm friends with my ex, but it didn't end like foul like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, um, I just think that it just depends because there are just some situations, like Al says, that just go in the trash. We won't revisit that. Deuces. If I see you in the street, hey, maybe not.
So okay. So I got a question. Do you? Ooh, this is gonna be good. Um, do you believe that? Are you comfortable with your spouse having an opposite sex best friend?
No, because if they're not my friend, we don't have no friends.
Okay. Because I was about to say, like, because I was thinking based on what you had said before that maybe that was something that you were comfortable with.
But about my ex being my friend,
Yes.
yeah, but we don't talk like that. I mean, we if I post something on Facebook or whatever, he might comment on it or I'll comment on it, and every now and then, we'll talk, especially like when he having female issues. But yes, but we don't talk like that. And I've said something to Mr. B about him, but yeah, but we're not like that. But as for I don't know if I don't believe that men can be and women can be like platonic friends like that because I always think there's always some like some bleed over with men. I think women can see men as just friends, but I don't think men can see women as just friends. But then I think there has to be
Boundaries, maybe, right?
boundaries, right? There has to be boundaries, and then when they know that you're sticking with your boundaries, then yeah, they're over it. Then they know that it's not going to go no further.
I had somebody tell me, I had somebody tell me, because I do have a lot of guy friends. Like a majority of like the people that I've kept up with or have kept up with me throughout the years have been guys. And I've had somebody tell me, like, well, in the past year or so, they were like, Melissa, I need you to know that all of these quote unquote guy friends that you have are guys that if you gave them the chance, they would pounce. Like, they were like, they were like, you might be their friend, but they're not your friend. Like, guys cannot be friends with girls platonically. And I'm
Hmm.
wondering, like, is that a real thing, or is it just because I wonder, like, part of my brain is like, is it insecurity on the part of the person, or is there actually something to it? Like, people of the opposite sex cannot be platonic friends. Because I'm thinking, right, when you have a friend, the difference between a friend and an acquaintance is that with a friend, you're sharing your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations. And
Hmm.
it's like you're building like an emotional relationship with that person. So I guess,
Well,
so
see,
you're, yeah.
I think it depends on. I, okay, I think a lot of times men always have an ulterior motive. I don't because they always thinking about you know how far they can go or whatever. So that's why I say I don't believe there has to be boundaries. And no, it's hard to be friends with an ex. See, my auntie Betty said it too. No, it's hard to be friends with an ex. One other person will try to test your feelings. Yeah, it's an ego thing. Yeah, because they want to see how far they can actually go and how far you can take it. So you can have a friend that's a male friend, right? And so let's say you're just talking and you're telling him all whatever's going on, this is what's happening, whatever. So now he knows you, and he knows, kind of like how you feel about things, right? So then you're in a relationship, you tell him, oh, I'm in this new relationship, da 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 da, this and that and what the other. And because you're thinking that that's your friend, you're like, yeah, but we're having this issue right here or whatever. And like she said, it's an ego thing. So they can kind of twist kind of things in situations so that where they are really trying to get you in a place where they can be more than just a friend. And especially if they know that that's not where you're going with it, because you may just really see them as a friend, but they see you as more.
So do you think you should ever take somebody out of the friend zone? If you put somebody in the friend zone, do you think you should ever take somebody out the friend zone? You like get them off the bench.
It depends. Do you like them?
Oh, I'm just asking hypotheticals.
Oh, I don't know. Al, what you think? I don't know. I don't think I've ever had a friend that that was in the friend zone. Okay. If they was in my friend zone, they just stayed in the friend zone. It never went.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, yeah, because it was interesting. I feel like part of the reason why I mentioned it was because it was another video that I was watching where they were talking about that, where basically it was saying that if you put somebody in a friend zone, you need to keep them there. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times, if somebody is left in a friend zone and they stay there for a very long time, it's because they love an idealized version of you and not the actual you. Mm-hmm. Because if they really loved you and if they really loved themselves and they knew that they wanted to be with you, they wouldn't allow themselves to be in the friend zone. You might try to blackmail you information you told him or what?
Al said, nope. You're in the friend zone for a reason. Yep.
Okay. All right. Zone. Well, I got those questions answered. Yeah. So now the next part is wait a year to marry. Of course, not everyone is uncommittable or gets cold feet or fantasizes about the past. Sometimes you and he are totally in sync and want nothing more than to marry and settle down together. That's wonderful, as long as you wait a year to marry so you can really know whom you are with. Rushing into a lifetime commitment is like playing a game of craps with your future. Surely you would not buy a house without first checking out the electrical wiring, plumbing, roof, and title clearance. I urge you to love yourself enough to spend the time to get to know your prospective mate and he you. Work through my 4 phases and go into marriage as a strong united couple. You deserve that.
I agree.
I went on a blind date and we knew we were better off as friends. He's my best friend now. Okay. So, boom, I got a question. If you have been sexually involved with a person in the past, can they technically still be considered a friend in the friend zone?
Definitely. Yes, wait. And by all means, get premarital counseling. Yes. Yes.
So, because the funniest thing is, I remember asking Edgar about that. I was just like, would you be comfortable with the girl that you're with having an ex that they were sexually involved with as a friend in their life? He was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, because he's a man. He has an ego.
Okay.
Yeah. Most men would not.
Because I mean, listen, I know somebody personally who won't even allow his wife to have friends. So.
Oh, now that's crazy.
But hey, it's their relationship, and I'm not in it. So.
Yeah. No. I can't. My mate can't be my only friend. Definitely not. Because there's just things that he won't understand, and there's certain things I don't want to talk about to him. Dude, you the problem.
Oh goodness. So the next one that she talks about is how to negotiate a role change. In this section, the author offers advice on how to handle the complexities of relationship dynamics in the commitment phase. During this, both individuals get to be masculine and feminine. There is a predominant leader and a follower, but eventually the follower will sometimes be the leader, and the leader will sometimes follow. In a mutual exchange, there are times when each will be cherished and respected. It's not difficult to do that. You only need to signal to your partner that you wish to switch energies. So if you're the masculine, you would say something like, if you are if you are predominantly masculine energy, the pursuer, and you wish to speak about your negative feelings, you begin by saying, I have some negative feelings that I want to share with you. Are you willing to listen? If you are the feminine, you say, da, 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 you would say, I have an idea, opinion, suggestion, or want that I'd like to share with you. Are you willing to listen?
I'm like Stephanie. Nope. I'm like nope to neither both of them. I'm like we need to talk.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
we need to talk. And Mr. B, he's like, oh hell,
Like what I
yes,
do.
yeah, we need to talk. Yeah.
Oh, but what was the comment from Aunt Betty?
Betty says most men can't think that they can't take that you were with someone sexually before them.
Mm.
Yeah, that's why I say it's an ego thing. Yeah, of course Edgar's he's gonna say that. No, yeah,
Okay, so now this section is negotiate and renegotiate. Negotiation and renegotiate is an essential part of a successful relationship. Engagement and marriage are not the end goal of commitment, but rather the beginning. To keep your commitment viable, you must use your negotiation skills throughout your relationship. Everything remains negotiable and is continually renegotiated because nothing in life is constant, even among successful people. So then they give an example of a couple named Wanda and Barry. Engaged to be married, they agreed to have a child as soon as possible after being married. She tested positive for a pregnancy. Every time when I read that, I assumed it was saying she tested positive for COVID, but I don't know.
I know.
Say it like that. She tested positive. She tested positive for a pregnancy and Barry freaked about how soon the baby was coming and scolded Wanda for not being more careful. Barry felt out of control because their child was arriving and he wanted Wanda to get an abortion. She refused. Eventually, Barry came around and realized that his feelings for Wanda outweighed his desire for control and reconciled. In the long haul of marriage, your self love will form an anchor in the stormy sea and a spiritual bedrock for your home. When a woman loves her man better than herself, she runs the risk of being used and abused. Don't do it. She also mentions that at times non negotiable items may be reneged upon after marriage. To stay together today, a couple has to negotiate and renegotiate continuously, and that is the way it should be. If the negotiation table is not available and actively used, they could start to take each other for granted, which in itself can be the kiss of death. When I read this, she was talking about certain things being reneged, and I think those are some non-negotiables. Like if they're non-negotiables when we were dating, they're definitely going to still be non-negotiables in the marriage.
I think your non-negotiables kind of change. Well, certain things stay the same. Being abusive, cheating, and all that, yes. But when you're married, you that's when you heard people say you have to pick your battles.
Mm.
You pick your battles. Sometimes you be like, you know what? I don't even want to deal with this, right? I'm not gonna deal with this. Or I'm not gonna deal with it right now because sometimes we can't let stuff go. We're gonna bring it back up. That's how you hear like men say, I did that 3 weeks ago. You didn't say anything. I didn't have the words to put to it, but I thought about it 3 weeks, and now I'm gonna tell you about what I felt about it.
That's like getting into an argument and then you go to sleep and then you come up with a great comeback. You're like, dang, I should have said this.
Should I said that? Yes. So yeah, you kind of pick your battles, and so I so that's my view on that. What my auntie Betty said. We all have traits that we are better than our partner. In my case, I handle finances. He's better at people pleasing. He meets no stranger. He sure doesn't. My Uncle James he meets no stranger. He talks to everybody. He does.
So his sentiment is there's no such thing as strangers. There's only friends you haven't met yet.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. these names don't even sound real.
Where's Keisha
Where
and
is Keisha and Tyrone?
Tyrone? Where's
Didn't
Keisha?
I tell you, Al, at the beginning of this book that she didn't interview us? It wasn't about us. We talked about that.
Because you know what? That's absolutely hilarious. And it's like, I feel like something that I wanted to, like, going back to the whole like renegotiation thing. If we
Mhm.
talked about having kids and I told you I wanted 5 before we got together, and now you're like, I actually just kind of wanted to just be us. I don't want any kids. We didn't talk about that.
Oh yeah. See,
We didn't talk
now
about
that's
that.
different because then you were being deceitful. That's totally different.
I mean, but from what I hear, sometimes people just change their minds. So are you now still committed to that person because you said to love and to hold in sickness and health for good or bad for as long as you both shall live?
No, auntie, that the author is not black. Yes, auntie, she said, is the author black?
Why
No,
she's not black?
no, she's not. So that's why I said that's why these names, like Al said, she said they don't even sound real. She go, where's Keisha and Tyrone? Keisha and Tyrone, they weren't there.
Keisha and Tyrone were not there. In
No.
fact, I'm sure I'm sure Keisha had to call Tyrone.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that is too funny.
I mean, those, I think, yeah, that's all I had for tonight. I know we're over our time, so but now we're officially done with that chapter, and then we only have 2 more chapters next week, and then we're done with this book, and then we can move on to Don't Settle, Sis.
Yes. 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 So, but this has been fun. It's been fun. We got
Said I figured that. What gave it away on Betty?
Betty was like, because she did a lot of concessions, I think. And Aunt Betty, no, and we were supposed to throw this book in the trash weeks ago.
Listen, we got 1 more week. We gonna give it a full review, and that way, because when I did, I looked up reviews for this book on YouTube, and there were mostly white women who were giving reviews on this. So I think now, at least when people look it up in the search results, they'll see they'll see something different.
They will definitely see something different. Like, this is not for us. If
They
you
said,
have
"Throw
melanin,
throw it,
it was like, throw it away. Just
throw it away." You know what, Miss Juani, I want to take the time to thank you for the charitable donation that you gave to this lady for this book when you bought it.
sure.
My choices in the future will be better when it comes to books, because I know I had you buy it and everybody else who bought it. Upside is, we learned.
We learned, or exactly. Exactly. Yeah, but it's always fun. It's fun coming on here with you guys, and Al and Stephanie and everybody comes in every week
Thank
to
you.
enlighten the young grasshopper over here. We can't have her going out here blindly.
For real, I got an army with me every time I go out on a date.
Thank you, exactly. You was like, no, because my aunties they got me up on game. You not running nothing over here.
I'm telling you, before things get serious, I'm like, you gonna have to hop on this live.
Now. All right then. Well, I guess we are done for tonight.
Yes, we are. That was it. That's all the questions that I had. Unless anybody had any more comments that he wanted to make, because
Yes.
Betty came through with the words of wisdom.
Oh, okay. And Betty came on here and she was like, no, we not doing this one. Let me let old school come in here with new school. No. Yes. Well, guys, I guess we're gonna go ahead and end this. It's way past Melissa's bedtime,
Okay.
and we have like 20 minutes to my bedtime.
Thank you so much for your willingness to have this a bit later. Just before I hopped on, there was an HOA meeting that I could not miss. So, got to do your civic duty, you know what I'm saying? Make sure.
That's right.
Oh, quick funny thing, right? So the fountain at the front of my neighborhood have been having a lot of pump issues. It's been going on and off for a while. And it's been hilarious because one person at the previous HOA meeting suggested, he was joking, but I thought it was hilarious. He was just like, well, instead of spending $6,000 to get a new pump, how about every time we drive past it, we just throw a bucket of water on the thing? I was like, I was like, everybody started laughing. I was like, this guy is hilarious. Can you imagine somebody driving by and trying to time it right?
Okay. Bernadette. Hey, Bernadette.
Yeah, my big sister.
Yes.
Tonight.
Sunny
Next
Day.
time, I'm expecting to hear you.
Yes. Sunny Day says, have a good night. Stay safe. See you next week.
See you next
Yes,
week.
see you all next week. And I want to say happy Mother's Day to all the mothers for this coming week and all the auntie mothers and everybody. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Good night, ladies. Melissa, tell some of your friends to join. Yes, I would love to hear their. Yes, we do. I would love to hear some more of the
I heard
Gen
that one of
Z.
my I heard that one of my homegirls from Atlanta, you know, Puda just be in the background. She don't want to hop on.
I know. I know. We need to see if Puda we can get her up on here. Your auntie Betty's gonna be in Mexico next week.
Live it up, Auntie Betty.
Yeah,
Up.
auntie, she be gone. She is
Listen,
gone.
be gone.
Yes.
There's way too much earth for you to travel to be stuck in one place for too long.
Yes.
Okay, so something that was said a bit earlier was
No.
settling down. Do you believe that marriage necessarily means settling down? Like, couldn't you just still live your best life while married? Because everybody makes it seem as if when you get married, it's like, yep, you gotta put away everything, your life is over.
Oh my gosh, no.
Because I'm thinking, right, if you're going to travel and what you want to do doesn't involve you needing to be single, you can do all those things married. Could you not?
Yes. Her Uncle James always going somewhere. They the most traveling people. They'll jump in a car in a minute and take a road trip.
There we go.
Yeah.
You know what, I'm Betty? Next time, listen, I'm here to glean, you know, like Ruth in the field. I'm here to glean, Miss Betty.
Yes. She said marriage is what you make it.
Ain't everything though, right?
Yeah, yes it is. It is in the yes, what you
Thank you for entertaining my last question, guys. I know we're trying to wrap this up. Thank you.
Yes. All right, guys. So thank you for joining us. We're about to go. We will see you next Thursday.
At 7:00.
Yes, at 7:00. We'll be on time next Thursday.
Yes.
All right. If nothing happens, nothing comes up. All right, y'all. So see you next Thursday. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day. Bye. Oliver, really?